and going live on Facebook. And that should pop up there in the Facebook Live. So just keep your eye on that profile, and when you're ready,
so it should turn up. It should show up on you. Okay, correct. It's not there yet.
Yep, it'll just maybe take a minute or two to come up. As soon as it does.
Well, you've got a lot of mutual. We got a lot of mutual friends. My God.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people have probably sent you. Like when I did a lot of interviews with you, a heap of people were like, "Oh wow, I'm sure they went and followed you as well."
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, so it should be coming up.
Ah, there we go. Yes, right. I can see it. Yeah.
Fantastic. So share that.
Okay, so that's just now, yeah?
Brilliant.
Okay. That's the one, like survival strategies. Okay, share.
Share to your profile. Go public. All good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. We'll start the show. Good morning and welcome to A Good Life Show, where every week we interview extraordinary people and as they share their life lessons and wisdom and how these life transforming moments inspired them to create careers, businesses and projects that serve humanity and help us all to live a good life. I'm your host, Justin Phillips, life hacker, wellness coach, and global leader in cellular health technologies. And there is nothing I like better than to empower people to live a good life. Today, our very special guest, if you've been following me for a while, needs no introduction because we've done lots and lots of great interviews with Jost. Jost Sawyer is a doctor of Chinese medicine, born and bred in Germany originally. He was actually one of my lecturers at college. He's an author, speaker, workshops, extraordinary guy. Got some great websites, which I'll put in the links below. You can access a whole bunch of free resources there. So fantastic to have you back on the show, Jost. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, great, Justin. Good to be here. Yep.
And this came about, today's conversation came about. I went and had a consult with Jost. Jost is a practicing acupuncturist, amazing acupuncturist. Jost has always given me the best whole picture, holistic view and perspective on any topic from a Chinese medicine perspective. So that really is his, in my opinion, that's your zone of genius, Jost. I just love the way you do that. And last time we were catching up, we were talking about this idea of invasion to the body, and that in Chinese medicine, that there's more than just that there's characters for example, a viral invasion, there's characters for an energetic invasion. So that's where we come up with a title of Survival Strategies on Immunity and Invasion. So pretty interesting conversation in the current environment.
Yes. Yes. I mean, a lot of, I mean, when it comes to medicine and when it comes to healing, there are a lot of mysteries, You know, it all comes down to what is actually a virus. Well, how come a virus hasn't got DNA, and what do they need to live on? Do they need the host of the body? That's the Western perception. So in Chinese medicine, it's a very similar topic in that regard, that there is a lot of stuff around us that wants to invade us so that it can live. So meaning that there is an energy quality around us that actually needs the human body to function. So it can't function by itself. And the technical term for that in Chinese medicine is called the GUI, G-U-I. And it translates as unresolved astral frequency. It's a frequency that exists, but it needs to resolve itself. And in order to resolve itself, it needs blood. It needs qi. So it's the principle behind what vampires are about. Vampires cannot live unless they have got the blood, and they can't stand cosmic chi, which is the sun. They need to be at night time when they're away, because they live in the shadow side. They live in the unresolved world that hasn't got the light, that hasn't got the progress. So very similar. This is where the Chinese call it the GUI. In the West, we've got the vampire principle and all these ideas. So when it comes to viral invasion, it's very similar sort of situation, that something enters us and then takes host of our body and then it uses the host in order to survive, and then will damage the host or will create an ideal condition in the host in order for this virus to exist, for this invasion to exist. So it needs to bring up a very preferred condition. For example, with COVID, it needs to bring up the heat, it needs the fever and things like that. It needs the illness in the body so it can survive. So the illness in the body is what it's their way of feeding, which then in the end destroys them. So the whole thing is a bit strange. So yeah. But what makes this invasion so profound is that in Chinese medicine, thoughts are qi. And qi is energy, but also form. It's essence, form, energy. So form translates as information. So qi is information and essence and energy. So thought, in fact, is a consistency of qi. That means it actually exists as an energetic quantity. So now you've got all these sort of nasty things around us, like the virus and the GUIs, the unresolved frequencies. But then on top of that, you also got thoughts that are qi. So if you qi and thoughts invading us, is a good example of that is when you walk into a temple. Like, for example, there's a beautiful temple here at the Sunshine Coast called Shenrezig. It's a Tibetan Buddhist temple, and it's been enormously hardly worked on in developing strong qi presence in all the statues and the whole surroundings. So when you walk in there, the thought form, the qi just invades you, and you actually can't exist. You can't actually formulate negative thoughts in that moment. It just completely invades you. It makes, if you've got issues, if you need healing, most likely you will go into crying, you will cry. And in order to surrender deeply so that the thought form can enter. And when you leave, you feel healed, you feel uplifted, and for a few days you feel clean. So this is how temples work. They got a very, very strong focus of targeting specific thoughts, and by using a breathing technique, and all these frequencies in order to cement that thought into a form, which is most likely the Buddha statue or the surroundings. So it stays there. And then every day they keep onto it. So in our Western world, where most people aren't skilled to do positive thoughts and positive things and knowing how to translate thoughts into qi, obviously a lot of people in the Western world do the opposite. And what happens is that they're generating negative thoughts. And those negative thoughts have the qi consistency and will travel, and then will start invading the body, just like, for example, in a Buddhist temple, yeah, or any other holy temple, yeah. So when negative thoughts enter, it changes the consistency in the body. And when something enters us, the invasion that we can't make sense of, that is referred to as the Goo Syndrome in Chinese medicine. G-U, Goo Syndrome. That means something is invading us. It's causing problems in the digestive tract. It's causing problems in the mental realm. It causes problems on the neuromuscular symptoms. So you're getting digestive problems, you're getting bloating, you're getting muscle pains, you're getting muscle heaviness, weakness, and in mental symptoms, you get depression, frequent suicidal thoughts, flaring up of anger. So when you present this to a Western medicine and you do a blood test, the result is everything's good, you're fine, you're healthy, go back home again. So that means a Goo syndrome is the invasion of an energetic frequency that is actually in its form, it's a substance. It has actually its essence. It is something that exists, and it goes into the body, and it will cause damage to the body. And obviously, because it's on an energetic level that hasn't got anything in droplets or in the fluids of saliva or in blood, any information to reveal, that's the reason why when you do the blood test, it shows you're healthy.
And
But then,
kind of similar to like why they think homeopathy doesn't work, because it's an energetic thing, not a physical thing.
yeah, I'm not a homeopath. I can't talk like that. But I just, from a Chinese medicine perspective, everything is energy. So it's either it's on the spectrum from very fine to very coarse. Just like spectrum, there's a certain frequency of light we can see, other things you can't see. Like the audio frequency, certain things we can hear, other things we can't.
Yep.
So that's the same in the chi frequency. So fine you can't see it, goes right up to where you can see it. And by the time chi turns into something you can see, it's turned into a fluid like blood or semen or saliva, and then becomes the fluids of the body. And then when it then becomes stagnant, it turns into inflammation, and that you can see. And then it turns into hardness of the muscles. Then it turns into digestive problems and all kind of other damages, which you can see. But you can't see the finer structure of it. That's not noticeable. It's not in droplet form yet. For Western science to sense and to see, to get a validation that you are invaded, it needs to be shown up in a droplet form, either blood test or going to the nasal, or things like that, or up the anus, So either way, so it's a bodily fluid that's required to. But before it turns into bodily fluids, you have got a whole spectrum of developments that is out of your sight and out of your ear, of you. You can't see it, you can't sense it. So it's very profound, And so that what is called the Goo Syndrome, the invasion syndrome. And the invasion syndrome can cause a lot of problems because you don't know that you're sick and you don't know why you're sick. So so you have sickness and you have symptoms, but they can't trace it down why you have it. And obviously this is now an issue we need to understand, that because we are now in a very, very thought form wise in in a dark stage of humanity, where there's a lot of negative thoughts thrown around left, right, and center, lots of fear. What attracts the Goo Syndrome or the invasion is fear. Fear attracts invasion. So what the Chinese been saying for thousands of years, the demons that can enter the body can only enter if the blood is available. To make the blood available for the demon to enter, we need to damage and weaken the blood by fear. So we need fear first. Fear damages the blood. When the blood weakens, the demon can enter. That's Chinese medicine on the Goo Syndrome going back 3,000 years ago.
And isn't that an interesting concept when you look at the current mainstream media environment with the hype and a pandemic, it's like, whoa, fear. I've never seen people as afraid as they are now.
40 years working with people, I've never seen such an intense time either. So in my 40 years working with people directly, I've never seen such high level of confusion, such incredible high level of panic, and such high level of distrust to government and to scientists. So half of the population has lost all trust in the government, and the other half of the population follows regardless of what. So that creates a massive conflict between two groups. And that obviously stirs up more. And the next thing what makes the invasion enter is anger. Anger, because anger is heat, it boils up your blood, it weakens the blood. If you get angry, you weaken your blood. If you weaken your blood, invasion can take in. So this is how we guard against invasion, by cultivating confidence, the opposite of fear, and ability to keep moving, the opposite to anger, which is acceptance and love, etc. So it's by strength and love, by confidence and keep moving, we actually prevent invasion. So what is the immediate remedy to invasion? Keep moving forward. Be confident. Have the sword up in the arm. Have the sword. The sword has to be up. We got to be ready. It's a battle. Being here in the physical is a battle because we got those gooies. We got the Goo Syndrome and we got the gooies. And so, the result of that is we are subject to all kind of damages. Yeah.
When we're talking, you know, like that, to me, that was a huge aha moment. This idea that for 3,500 years, the Chinese have known about Goo and Gooey, the physical form, and then the physical form with the thought forms behind it, with the like with an intention behind it as well. And so that's just when people talk about you know, the energy behind something, the energy of the pandemic. You know, you even said that, you know, that it is possible to create those thought forms, you know, for people to work towards creating that, and you see that in different forms, like in, you know, different types of black magic and things like that.
Yes.
Well. So that's QE, you know, that's a thought form, the energy behind it, the curse of it. Or
Yes,
Chinese medicine, the demon of it.
Yes. When I started working with acupuncture around 30 years ago, because I studied under a top master, Sri Bhai Sahib Ji, and he ran the transcendental meditation movement with the Maharishi back in the 60s when the Beatles approached the Maharishi. So he actually trained them himself. So I studied under Sri Bhai Sahib Ji, who was a recognized guru. And he helped me in moving forward with my understanding of acupuncture in order to make it more cosmically aligned rather than just analytical.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of time in Asia training under him. And I remember my first day when he put me into work. I worked in his clinic, and I worked he booked me up from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 at night. It was just intense. Yeah. So 3 hours in the morning for your morning practice, have breakfast, and then you work till 9, and then you debrief, and then you have 3 hours sleep, and then you go back in again. It's just insane. And but you're always full of energy because those masters transmit energy in you. And my first patient was she was a Hindu lady, because hardly anyone spoke any English. They were all Hindu, Muslims, they were everyone from all different creeds of life, but from all different villages, etc. And my first patient, she had a spell put on by a witch doctor. And the witch doctor, the reason why that happened is because she toyed eyes with another man, and the wife of that man went to the witch doctor. The witch doctor put a spell on her, a thought form. And that thought form made her legs become like a dog leg, and became like ugly looking legs. And because in that village, legs were like a sex symbol, and the thought form completely deformed the legs, and she couldn't walk proper. She just almost like a duck couldn't walk proper. She just, the whole thing. Yep. So she walked in, and the translator to me in English said, she's got a spell put on by the witch doctor to turn her legs into dog legs. And I said, oh my God. I looked at my Chinese medicine book, Giovanni, Foundation of TCM. I thought maybe there is some sort of witchcraft solution, but obviously it was nothing.
Yeah.
I looked at the master, Sri Bhai Sahib Ji. He looked at me with his long white beard. He cracked up laughing. And then he was communicating with me telepathically. And he said, just keep working. I work with you. So I didn't know what to do. So I started doing pulse diagnostics and tongue diagnostics. Obviously didn't get anything. And then the voice said, put it on the table. So I did, put it on the table, started putting needles in, worked with points. And suddenly I was guided to that invasion, to that Goo Syndrome. And I saw the thought form sitting there all along that bladder meridian on the legs. It was just sitting there like, yeah, in my conscious mind, it appeared to be like a demon, like an evil looking thing. And obviously we don't have a source for evil in Chinese medicine. So it's how I interpret it as to look like. But it is a thought form that didn't belong to the body, and it had entered the meridians, and it was blocking the chi flow and causing damage to the legs, and the muscles followed and became dog legs. And it was, so in that moment, I was right with that goo, and with that invasion. I saw it, I saw the thought form. And then the voice came in, just sit with it, take your chi breathing. And because I was trained in the breathing, and said, just hold on to that point in your mind, hold on to it, breathe into yourself, just go deep into chi. And then I went deep into chi, and suddenly my chi that was going through me neutralized the goo. And suddenly it just like, pop, it just disappeared. And then I did a few other things, and then this strong light came in, all this chi flow. It was like this ecstatic bliss field suddenly. And I was like, wow, this is just incredible, you know? And then when it was finished, I put the needles out, and she got off the table and she was walking straight. And I was like, shit, you know, how did that happen? You know, and she thanked me, and I said, I didn't do anything. I just put needles in. And she just, thank you. I have no idea what I did. And so there were a few other cases like that afterwards. And then obviously the debrief later with Sri Bhai Sahib Ji was then all about this viral invasion. What is really going on with life? What we see on a physical is just a spectrum so narrow, but apart from that, it's just huge. Why? It's just the reality. It's just far beyond anything. And most illnesses start in that field that we can't see.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's why in Chinese medicine, we do pulse diagnostic and tongues, because we can see things and sense things before they manifest in physical form. The idea is to live a life where you control and regulate the invisible development of pathology. And it always starts with invasion first. By the time it manifests into physical, that is, it turns into blood, so that you have or blood or survival fluids, because then you can test it. Like COVID test needs fluid. They wouldn't put your hand on you to sense the chi of the GUI. Yeah, they don't have that. They don't have that training. But everything starts in the invisible, and the idea is to change your life in the invisible, and then have the outcome in the visible as a positive health. Yeah, that's why spiritual techniques are so important right now. They are crucial. They absolutely are essential.
Yeah, and that's a great message. I'm just seeing people kind of contracting in fear, but I feel like I'm just not contracting, but withdrawing into like focus on yourself.
Yes.
And do the things that are important. You know, be home, be centered, be grounded. You know?
Yeah. Just like the idea is to go, like start the day immediately by making contact with your chi field. That's how it starts. That's like, it always comes down to that's our first approach. We want to make touch with our chi field. Yeah. And we do that with all the techniques that are given to us, that have been given to us for thousands of years. They are available to all of us. It all starts with breathing techniques. It starts with tapping meridians. It starts with opening up the energy flow. Because if you open up the energy flow, you allow those Goo Syndrome, these thoughts stored in your body, allow them to leave, to go. Yeah. And then obviously the next thing is to strengthen your intent to keep moving forward regardless of what you hear. Yeah. Listen to the news for information, but don't let it impact on you. That is the key. Don't let it impact on you. Okay, if it impacts on you, just stop it. Don't listen to it. If you want to listen to it purely for the sake of to know what's going on, because we need to know what's going on, yes, then do it. But don't let it go in.
Yeah. I think that's a great point, because you can get the same message in a different way. I find a lot of mainstream media, they're giving the message, but they're giving it in a dramatized way that really gets you emotional and gets the fear going.
Yeah.
An example is like when I'm looking for COVID updates, I actually go to the Facebook Live of the chief health officer, premier, and the chief copper, the top copper. When they just do their live, it's just, to me, factual. But when you see it on Channel 9, it's dramatized.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Drama that's the problem, not the message.
Yeah, it's clickbait. It works because this is the perverse situation of being alive. That what harms us, we are drawn to.
Yeah, that's why it's a battle. Yeah,
it's just like full on. That's why discipline techniques, building a discipline, is absolutely the key, the number one, in order to have a happy life.
Yeah,
you've got to build a discipline, and but the best thing is to develop a chi reference point in yourself that feels better than everything else around you, and the cosmic chi experience that you get from a transcendental meditation, that you get from a deep state of meditation of the VCM, the Vibrant Celestial meditation, or from a state derived from Tai Chi, from Chen style Tai Chi in particular, and the breathing techniques of the Buddhist. All that leads you to an enormous high reference point that is stronger and more powerful than the physical world can offer. So the more those references you have in your life, the easier it is to develop the discipline to not getting entangled in that physical drama, which is obviously the delusion, what they say, the Maya. Yeah. And so in Chinese medicine, we don't have that word delusion for or Maya for it. We say it's the physical is essential, and our job is to develop the physical, but we need to get our guidance from the invisible world, from the cosmic world, from the chi world, not from the physical, because the physical can be on the wrong path. Yes, at the moment, what we see with all these vaccines, you can see they are on the wrong path, and so we can't buy into it. We need to find the truth from our own inner understanding of what's correct. We can't go by the information unless we go directly to the source of those who speak the truth. And so we can't go to the news anymore for truth. We can't go to social media for truth anymore, unless it's a group of people you follow that you can trust, that you can trust. So we're living in very, very crazy, intense times. And obviously everyone in there has got one interest: stir up as much emotion as possible, because that feeds back to their account and all kind of other stuff. So therefore, we need really, if we start the day with a chi practice, with breathing, with clearing of the meridians, and with strengthening our intent to follow up on our original idea, what we want to do here in this world, then have a grounding breakfast that builds blood. If you have a breakfast that builds your spleen and your blood, such as good porridge, like I've got a lot of porridge videos and all kind of recipes on my website. And so if you start your day with clearing your system first, detox, as described in my book, on the Chi Health Cycle, and if you start, that means your body is clear. Then, because you went right up back into the invisible world where the goo could be stored, and you cleared it all out, then you are ready to tackle the world. But before you get out, you want to build your blood. And that's why you have a warm breakfast, something that's solid. And because if your blood is strong, the goo can't go in.
Yeah.
It can only go in if it's weak. Yeah. That's why I'm so against this intermittent fasting where people don't eat all day. If you want to do intermittent fasting, skip dinner but don't go out in the world without blood building food first. It's far more difficult to skip dinner than to skip breakfast. If you want to do it really proper, skip dinner. That is difficult. Skipping breakfast is easy. Skipping lunch is easy, but skipping dinner, that is difficult. So every intermittent fasting person, I always challenge, I said, if you want to be really strong, skip dinner. You will see how difficult that is.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
That's a great challenge. Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
about you, Yoss. You're always up to challenge people.
Yeah.
We did talk about Wu Chi, the defensive chi, that
Yes.
you can build up with practice as well. Did you want to talk to people, explain a little bit about Wu Chi and the idea of being fierce?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's obviously the protective chi, we call it, yeah? I mean, that's, you mean the Wei Chi?
Wei Chi, sorry, yeah. I'm not an expert with all the terminology.
Yeah. It's W-E-I, Wei Chi. And that's protective chi. And that is designed to protect you of the invasion. So Wei Chi is a result of the whole process of chi formulation. So the chi formulation takes place in several stages. And the final stage is what they call the nutritive chi or the true chi. And that is then separated into nutritive chi and into Wei Chi. So that means your protective chi is the final product in the chi production. That means there needs a lot be done first in order to have protective chi. So that means the breathing techniques, the correct eating. So we need to know what to eat. That's the thing. We need the foods that build our blood, that build chi. So we need to look at how we work with food. So for example, because that's another thing, you can have in brackets the healthiest food, but if your thought form is negative, you will not allow that nutrient to go in. So for example, cooking your own lunches and dinners and breakfast, or if you just can cook one meal at least a day, and then put yourself in a peaceful state, in positive thoughts, like ideally have a smile on your face, listen to good music or an inspiring podcast, and away from all work talk, because the thought form, then when you cut the food and put it into the pot, the thought form will actually create magic. Yeah. Because cooking is magic. Cooking is more than just putting ingredients in there. You want to put things in there that make sense on paper in terms of nutrient delivery and nutrient wellness and richness. But then you also need to put rich thoughts into it, because your thoughts invade the cooking process. Those thoughts go into the food and then will alter the food in terms of what's next. Yeah. So that's why, like, for example, in Japan, or if you look at the East, like the top restaurants, when the chef turns up, the chef has to first go into a special room, take their jackets off. They have been outside, put on a uniform that is only worn inside the kitchen. Then they go into a meditation state, clear out all thoughts. Then they enter the kitchen, and no negative thoughts are allowed. They're disciplined. So when they cook the food, they're in a very disciplined state. Yeah. And that then impacts on the food. So when you eat that food, it's medicine. So when I studied in the East, when I studied under Sri Vai Sahib Ji, he was a master in cooking with thought form. Mm-hmm. So my first day when I started working with him or under him, he cooked me a breakfast. And when I ate that, I was instructed to eat it mindfully, so concentrated. It was just a simple breakfast with pawpaw and some oats, a bit of rice and lentils, and a bit of honey and some fruit, but all cooked, all warm. And I ate it, and within 2 minutes I felt like, I'm feeling uplifting here. And then when I finished it, I felt like, that is a bit like maybe he put some cocaine into that food.
That gave you a good head, eh?
Yeah. I said, this is what kind of breakfast is this? Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I felt like a smile was going up in my face, and I was like, I was just sitting there and said, "Hey, I feel high."
Yeah.
And yeah, and I then got to work and I powered through for 4 hours, 5 hours without being hungry. Yeah. And then I had lunch and same situation again. It's like, whoa. And that's when by the debrief and that evening, he introduced me to the art of cooking. So for example, when he cooked, chopping a carrot, he put his thoughts in there, exactly looking at every piece. All right, that's the piece, that has to be that thought form, next thought form. That's something that for the rushed Westerner is a foreign concept. But our Western way of living has caused the collapse of the health system, health in people, which is why COVID is able to cause damage, because people's health is so far damaged that it causes panic now. They're blaming COVID, but it's everyone's comorbidity and everyone's health is so low that the anxiety and the panic is just, and the fear is just lashing out, looking for someone to blame. And COVID is to be blamed, and the salvation way forward, quick, get the vaccine, and then we away from that panic.
Yeah,
but
it's going to save us. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's grasping for savior.
Yeah, it's the lifestyle before, this constant rushing, not eating mindfully, bombarded by negative thoughts. Like I've seen this over and over. People are on the phone talking business. You fuck, no, and while eating hamburgers. Yeah. I mean, that is just allowing GUIs to come in left, right, and center. All the GUIs are, hey, this is the party. Let's go to planet Earth. There's so much food. Everyone's out there. It's open. It's crazy. It's like going into shark-infested water and throwing meat in first and then go for a swim.
Yeah. Not good. Not clever.
And then blaming the sharks and then say, okay, we have to kill all the sharks.
Yeah. It's their fault. That's right.
It's the same bullshit. Yeah. So you can't do anything. You can't do anything about the sharks. The sharks are what they are. Yeah. But we've got other problems. Yeah. So this is why the situation at the moment is that the reason why we got this problem is because the rushed lifestyle crashed the blood and the chi, which then led to fear and anger. And when anger and fear comes up, it damages the blood. If the blood is damaged, GUIs, the invasion can take place. If the blood is strong, nothing can come in. That's how it is. That's the shield. If you got strong blood, it will not come in. And if it comes in, that means I have to strengthen my blood. That's how it is.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the message. If I get flogged because something goes in, that means I have to go back to the drawing board and I have to train harder, get stronger. That's the message.
Yeah.
Till eventually I'm so strong that nothing comes in. That's what we're here for. We are here to get strong, to get fit, to get powerful. We are powerful beings. We just need to know how to do this.
Yep. Yeah, I hear you. It was very inspirational, that last consult I had with you. Leaving with the intention to be fierce, to live my life fiercely. And that was like, wow, I've actually really felt that. And it's like, boom, it just gave me so much focus and I could break through, a lot of the distraction, a lot of the rubbish, and I just kept to my mission.
Yeah.
So really appreciate that.
And fearless. When you go to Shenrezik, to that temple, when you look at that statues, you can sense the enormous, intense fearlessness in that thought form. They are fearless. And you become fearless by building your blood. Strong blood means you are fearless. If you are fearless, that means you keep moving. And the invasion can't take place.
Fantastic. Well, look, thank you so much for sharing again, Jost. Everyone that's listening to this call, either on the Zoom or on the Facebook or a replay, wherever you find it. Please check out the show notes below. Yost has got a heap of resources for us, multiple books, but also his websites. There's some downloadable resources, which are really great. And your morning routine exercise PDF, Yost, that's brilliant to start the day. And I know, you love the breathing first thing. I did do an introduction Wim Hof course just recently, did the ice bath. And man, when I come out of that we did Qigong straight after the ice bath. And I was, that was the best I've felt for a long time. And so I went back in the ice bath. It was great. But off topic, I do recommend people learn about breathing, learn about different practices, and Yost's downloadable exercise, 15-minute exercise in the morning is a great way to wake up and develop that fierceness, get your blood pumping, get your chi moving.
Yeah, that's it. Got to pumping.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to add, Yost, before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, I want to say that being here in the physical is always a battle. So what happens right now is all part of a bigger plan. And so don't buy into it the way it's appearing. It is a transformation into something new. And it's the process of a big birthing process. It's a big birthing process into something new. Obviously, that will bring up all kinds of emotions. Every time I work with clients and they're going through a transformation, the emotions go havoc. And that's exactly what we're experiencing now. So it's a massive transformation. And out of that, something great will happen. It's just how it is. The earth, Tao, or whatever the Tao is, whatever God is, will not allow to destroy what they created billions and billions and billions of years ago. Those things are around. Do you know, for example, COVID virus is 55 million years old. So suddenly it's just like, we are surrounded. We always have these sort of things, but we are expected to build our blood so that things can't cause havoc. That's our job of being here.
Yeah. It's our job. Exactly. Our health is our responsibility. So we've got to go to town and take charge. So fantastic. Thank you so much, Yost. You can catch up with Yost at yostsoya.com, as well as the lifestylemedicineman.com. That's where you can get some of those downloads. I will put all of those links in the bottom. Definitely encourage you to take up Yost's challenge and to live more fiercely and fearlessly as well. And I just want to say thank you, Yost, for always spreading your amazing wisdom and experience. Really appreciate it. Well, I'm sure we'll get you back on the show at some point when another great topic comes up. Want to thank you for sharing your message. And the purpose of this show is to help people live a good life, to help us create a healthier, happier world. Your message matters. And all of you out there that are listening, we wish you the very best in living your good life. Please leave your comments, questions, share the love, give us a like, follow, subscribe. Most importantly is share this video with someone who really needs to hear it. And, make a difference by I think, giving your best act of friendship is to give something that can really add value to a person's life. And make it a great week. Live a good life.
Yep.
We'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. See you then.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.